Alright, how's it going, people? Today I'm going to teach you how to play Message in a Bottle by The Police. The guitarist was Andy Summers, and he was an awesome guitarist. So, to start out with, I'm playing a Telecaster on the... Now I'm playing on the bridge pickup through a Mustang 5, a Fender Mustang 5. And I've got some compressor and some flanger. And also a little bit of overdrive. Just to get that tiny bit of grit. Alright, so the main riff of this song. The song is in C sharp minor. And the progression is C sharp minor, A major, B major, and F sharp minor. Now you don't play those chords like that because that's boring, right? You gotta play them with the added ninth and no third, so you can't really tell if it's major or minor. So that sounds a little bit like this. And then a slide right there. Okay, so now for the in-depth stuff. First chord shape, pointer finger on the 4th fret of the A string. You want to use your middle finger for this. You want your middle finger on the 6th fret of the D string, and then you want your pinky on the 8th fret of the G string. So that sounds like, and that's your first chord shape. It's arpeggiated like this. That's the second one. Basically move that shape down, but I like to play with the open A string instead of going up here. And that's the way that Andy Summers plays it in The Police. But I think it's easier to use the open A string to your advantage. So I'm going to teach you that way. So, for that, you just move that shape down with your pointer finger on the 2nd fret of the D string. And you can use your ring finger or your middle finger. I like to use my middle finger because it kind of keeps the shape intact instead of ruining it. So then you can go, you're prepared for the next one. But you put your middle finger or ring finger on the 4th fret of the G string. That's your second shape. And then your third shape, start with your first finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, your middle finger on the 4th fret of the D string, and your pinky on the 6th fret of the G string. So that sounds like this. And then for the last shape, which is the F sharp minor shape, you just move that shape from here where you had it for the B major, and move each finger a string down. So that's pointer finger on the 2nd fret of the E string, middle finger on the 4th fret of the A string, and you're gonna want your pinky on the 6th fret of the D string. But the tricky part with this shape is you gotta hit it like this. You gotta have your pinky slide up 1 fret for the little thing that ties the whole riff together. So together everything sounds like. You want to keep your fingers in that shape. That'll help you to go a lot faster. You don't want to change your shape like this, like go from here. Now you're screwing yourself there. You don't want to do that. Alright, so you do that for the first part. I'm not sure. I think you do that riff 10 times, so it's 10 of those. And then it goes into the bridge, which is like this. You can just play power chords. You don't really need to play the entire shape, but it's an A major to a D major to an E. And you gotta palm mute it with your picking hand, and you go like this. So you do that twice, and then you go down to the F sharp minor, which is bar chord. On the 2nd fret, basically your E minor shape, just move it up 2 frets. And then you go to your D, just an open D. You can play it here, or you can play it here, doesn't matter. So you play. This, you do that 3 times, and then you go up to this C sharp minor 7th, which is just like your regular A minor shape down here, but take off your whatever finger you have on the G string, and then you got your A minor 7. Now you move that up 4 frets, and you got your C sharp minor 7. So that's the first chord. You got C sharp minor 7, and then you got an A major, and you got the bass in the background going like. So then on the first bridge, or actually this is the chorus, sorry, you go like. This F sharp minor 7th. It's just like your F sharp minor, just your regular F sharp minor. Just take off your pinky, and you let that ring out for 2 measures, and then you go back to this riff. You're gonna want to practice that riff a ton because it's very easy to mess up. I still mess it up. You'll probably see in this video I mess it up a bunch. But it goes back to the riff, and it does that whole riff 8 times. So it's that 8 times, and then it goes back to the bridge, which is the A major, and then to the F sharp minor. You do that thing 3 times. Does the C sharp minor 7 to A major a lot more. I can't remember exactly how many, but let me check. Okay, so it does C sharp to A major. It does that 7 times for the 2nd bridge. No, chorus, I'm sorry. It does that 7 times. 2, 3, 4, the 8th go around, you go down to your F sharp minor 7, and you hold that for 4 measures. But if you're a little bit more advanced, take all of these fingers off and just bar it with your pointer finger. Just hit it like that, and then you come up here and do the harmonic chimes, which are on the record. And you can look up a different video to show you how to do that, because I'm not going to show you here. But basically, you just put your pointer finger on the the 14th fret, because that's 12 plus 2, which is an octave up. So that's your harmonic there. And then with your middle finger, you pluck the G string, or just simply 3 strings up. And you do that successfully with each string going up to the G string. So it's... Oh, you can't hear that very well. It's a very, very, very cool sound, especially with the flanger. And you hold that whole thing. 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4 for 4 measures, and then you go back into the riff. You do the riff 8 times again. The entire riff, you do that 8 times. And that's your, I think that's the, yeah, that's the 3rd verse. And then you do this A major to D major to E major. You do that thing again twice. Then you go to your C sharp minor. And you do that whole thing from C sharp to A. You do that 7 times again. But then when you go back down to the F sharp minor 7, you only hold that for 2 measures and don't do the harmonic chimes. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. And then you go back into the riff, and then there's a short break with just the guitar and the drums, and that's when you want to be on the ball with your riff. You want that to be perfect, or else everyone can tell. You want to have it right on the ball. And you do that riff 4 times before the bass and the vocals come back in. And then you just do the riff until the sending out an SOS until that's done, until it's faded out. Well, you can choose how many you want to do that with your band or solo, however you want to do it. But during the bridge, you can hear the guitar solo in the background. It's not really solo, it's just doing a bunch of little fills. And for that, you just use the C sharp minor pentatonic scale, which sounds like this. You use that scale and its extension, which is up here. You can pretty much ad-lib that. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as the record unless you're a perfectionist. But that's that. And then we've got this sort of elusive thing in the background where it sounds like there's 2 guitars playing. And that's a harmony. And it's harmonized in thirds. And I'll show you what that sounds like. I'll sync it up in my program, but it sounds like this. Alright, and what that harmony is, if you've got some way to double track it in your program, if you're re-recording a cover of it, or if you want to put it in your loop pedal to play while you're live, you just got to get the tempo exactly the same. That is, so you've got this shape, move it up so that your pointer finger is on the 7th fret of the A string. You play that and it'll sound like this. And that's the harmony for this. It's the harmony for that. And then the harmony for this little part of the riff. That harmony is your first part of the regular riff, starting on the 4th fret of the A string. And then the harmony for this, starting on the B or the 2nd fret of the A string in the riff. The harmony is kind of weird. So let's pretend you've got your your regular add 9 shape that we've learned starting on the 5th fret of the A string. What you want to do is move your pointer finger a half step up to the 6th fret. It's going to sound a little weird, but this is what it sounds like. It's got that diminished 5th in there. But that's the harmony for the 3rd part of the riff. And then the last part, the harmony for this, starts on the 5th fret of the E string, or an A. So you got your shape there. But the only difference is you slide up 2 frets instead of just 1. So you slide from here to here. It sounds kind of weird by itself, but once you stick them together, it sounds really, really awesome, as you probably heard before. But that should be all the parts you need to play this song, and I hope I helped you out. So go have fun playing some awesome tunes.